What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to a special episode, y'all, of Tuffy Talk. We are so excited here today, and I'm telling y'all this right now. This is definitely a bucket list item for me, sure, and is a true honor for me here to welcome Debbie Antonelli, who needs absolutely probably no introduction to almost anybody, but ESPN analyst, color commentator, and former NC State women's basketball shooting guard as well. So, Debbie, first of all, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate you being with us today.
Leighton, it's so nice for you to have me on your show. Thank you so much. I love being here.
Absolutely. Well, great. Well, first of all, I mean, I got to give a huge shout out to you. I've seen recently that you also have your own YouTube channel as well. So I actually even interviewed Caitlin Clark and some other pretty big time women's college basketball names. So I mean, has it been nice, getting to experience that YouTube content creation side?
Thankfully, I have a really good producer who helps put a lot of that stuff out, but we use that YouTube channel for our fundraiser for Special Olympics. So that's mainly where that content comes from. And that's why you see all those great actors and celebrities and entertainers and coaches and athletes. I use my network and my platform to try to get them engaged in helping me with Special Olympics, whether it's giving their time or making a donation. Either way, it helps us, create more awareness and raise money.
That's awesome. Well, jumping into it, I know that even today, as of us recording this, that you were making the trip back from the Indiana Fever Connecticut game which was a crazy game, a crazy finish for sure. And so first of all, I guess I want to start off with, obviously I said at the beginning of this was a bucket list item for me, but also too, I saw that you had an honor and had a bucket list item checked off of your own shooting ball with Diana Taurasi as well. Obviously WNBA legend. And so, I mean, talk a little bit about that. Like, how did that start? Did she approach you? Did you approach her to do that?
Well, first of all, let me say I was in the Minnesota Phoenix series for 2 games. So I've been in Minneapolis since Saturday until Thursday. So I was there for quite a time. But I did cover the Indiana Fever all summer. So you're not wrong about that. I just wasn't in the Connecticut series. I had 25 Caitlin Clark games this summer. And it was absolutely amazing. It never got lost on me any night, every night, no matter where we were. How many people were attending, how many people were wearing Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark number 22s, how many little girls were in the arena that I hope were out in their driveway dribbling a basketball and trying to emulate Caitlin and the other great players in the WNBA. We've always had a great product, but Caitlin Clark has been the greatest economic disruptor in the history of our game because she's made people change the way they look at the game, the way they consume the game. And that's all good for everyone that's involved. So anybody that has their fingers in the W in any way has and will benefit from the celebrity and the economic disruption of Caitlin. So that's first, that's a good thing. Diana Taurasi is definitely, if not the greatest, one of the all-time greats to ever play our game. It was right before playoff game 2. Minnesota had already finished their shoot around, so the balls are out. And every time I get a chance, I'm always out there trying to shoot late. I was trying to get my shots up. And I was out there shooting when Diana came out. And I started talking a little trash to her. Diana's the ultimate trash talker. So I said, come on, why don't you rebound for me? I said, all you got to do is stand under the net. And she kind of laughed, and she said, threw it back a couple times. And then we had a good time. It was a good laugh. And she liked my form, and she said, next time we're playing for money. And I said, you're on.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, with the amount of times that you've done, the world famous 24-hour free throw shot. I mean, you've had plenty of practice, even recently as well, and obviously even building off of your days, even playing for NC State, et cetera, as well. So kind of talk to me in terms of how things been going. What is kind of your main, what is your next main focus right now?
Well, I like to say everyone has a pie, and if you slice up your pie, each slice of pie has something to do with where you can, use your time and how you go about the production of your day. The WNBA season for me, I will not be going on further in the playoffs. So I've got quite a schedule coming up. I've got a lot of media days, a lot of preseason stuff around college basketball. That will take up most of October. This summer, besides the Fever games, I have 3 weeks of sold out girls only sports camp, which is something that I've been doing for 10 years. I do that in my town in Mount Pleasant. And then I'm always training and getting ready for 24 hours, nothing but net. So that takes up a lot of time. It's not getting easier to complete that task. And just for your listeners, just to update them, 24 hours, nothing but net is a 24-hour free throw shooting marathon. I make 100 free throws on the top of every hour for 24 hours. So at the end of 24 hours, I've made 2,400. I've done it for 6 years. And we have raised just under 1.1 million, which is something I never thought I would say. I ask everyone I meet for 1 penny for every free throw I make. That's $24 for Special Olympics. And my free throw shooting average over the course of 6 years is 94%. Now, in game, if a team is struggling shooting free throws, I always nudge my partner and say, do not put my free throw percentage on the air. I don't want to embarrass the kids.
Well, and it was funny, Debbie, as well. I tried to do my research for sure, and I'm telling you, I looked for the longest time to find your stats from your playing days.
Oh gosh, they're buried in some microfiche and some real black and white 8mm something somewhere.
Well, unfortunately for you, Debbie, your commentary, career has taken off so much that it's just like whenever I look up stats for you, that all it talks about is your stats as a commentator. So, I don't know. But I did see that the 93%. And so, I mean, like during your time at State, I mean, the only thing which I'll ask was your free throw percentage anywhere close to that 93%? And before we get going back into this amazing interview, we want to take a quick second and tell you about Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group that has your whole world covered with agents in 5 different offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at @FlatlandsJessup. You can also visit their website at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
You know what, Leighton, I like to say I am the best non-stat starter in NC State basketball history. 3 years of starting, very few stats. Coach Al, I was that player that I try to recognize as a broadcaster. I was the one that would be hard for Coach Al to take off the floor because I was going to be in great shape. I was going to know what we were doing. Fitness was not going to be the issue. My skill and ability to shoot it was always going to be a benefit to my team. But I made light of it because, my stat line might be 2 for 4, a long rebound, free throws if the other team got a technical, couple of assists, definitely turnover, and then it'd be like 31 minutes. And you'd go, well, that's not a great stat line. But I played and I loved playing with my teammates, and I make light of it. But I have printed some T-shirts because there are some of my former teammates and some people that are former NC State women's players that would like to take that moniker away from me, but I'm not letting them. I'm the best non-stat starter in NC State history.
We're sticking with that.
Yes.
I love it. Well, and one question too, which I've wanted to ask, which I've obviously kept up a lot with your Nothing But Net fundraiser, which is awesome for sure. And but most of what I've seen has been like kind of like those 1-2 minute or even kind of clips on from news outlets, things like that, and even articles as well. But the biggest question which I want to ask is, what is your training process building up to that? Because obviously there's 2 sides of it. There's the getting down your form, make sure you're ready to go, but also too being able to just from a kind of energy side, being able to do that for 24 hours. Like I think that's probably got to be the biggest thing, even more than just the necessary free throw shooting form.
Well, I do have muscle memory and the ability to self-correct. So every shooter should have that. People ask me all the time, can you help me with my team and be better free throw shooters? And I'm like, are they good shooters in the first place? Because if you're not a good shooter, you might struggle at the line anyway. So I do get AARP mail. So it's not getting easier for me to do this task. It is physically, mentally, and emotionally taxing. There is no question about that. My neighbors in Charleston, South Carolina, when it's 95 degrees in April and May, and I'm in the driveway doing my fitness and training, I know they scratch their head and check on me. But I do a lot of sprinting, planks, Pilates, weights. I ride the bike. And then the thing that I do that is my measuring stick now is, the bar that you put in your door frame to do pull-ups on? Well, I
Yeah.
put that in the driveway and I go free throw, burpee, free throw, burpee. And I do 10 sets of 25 makes. If I miss the free throw, I still do the burpee. After I get
Wow.
doing that, and that's not an easy challenge, I would challenge anybody that's listening to give it a try. After I do that I get solid at that and my percentage is above 85. Then I move to 4 sets of 50 and then I go to 2 sets of 100. And that's when I know I'm ready.
Okay. And so when do you typically start? How far in advance do you typically start that?
Oh, I'm constantly doing something every day. It might not be an all-out sweat. It could be working on squats, or it could be doing push-ups and sit-ups. But there's always something that I'm doing because I can't let it sneak up on me. May 10 and 11 in 2025 will be year 7, and I'm hoping that we can raise. I want to raise another $250,000 if we can. I want to see how quickly we can get to the next million. I'm going to keep doing it until I can't do it any longer. And I hope that's for a long time.
That's awesome. And do you have like any kind of like live stream of Nothing But Net as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where the YouTube that you've seen the interviews
Gotcha.
and stuff. That's all a part of the live stream. So
Sweet.
we live stream the entire event for 24 hours. It takes me about 15 minutes to make 100. And then the rest of the 45 minutes is some sort of entertainment. Could be an interview. It could be a live music act. It could be a live interview. It could be a pre-taped interview. I do interview 10 to 12 Special Olympic athletes across the country that have a really great story that I think helps people understand the value of Special Olympics. And I've made a lot of friends because of it. The Special Olympic athletes that I've met around the country text me almost every day. So it's fun because I love hearing from them and they're inspiring and keep me going. But when I'm in the driveway and I'm actually physically in the 24-hour space, the money keeps going up every hour. And I know personally from my family with my son exactly how the money is used and why it's important and how it will benefit the athlete's ability to socialize, organize, compete, and train. And that's important to everyone. Everyone should have a way to be on a team, and everyone should have an opportunity to help their welfare, their overall healthy well-being. And Special Olympic athletes are no different.
Yeah. Well, and that kind of moves into the next thing as well, which I know that has been a big announcement recently that I know you've been a part of, also too, Coach Doran and his wife as well have been a part of, which is the new Elevate program that's going to be a part of NC State in spring of 2025. So coming up here soon. And so I do want to ask immediately that, because I don't know if you know about, I'm assuming you don't follow us necessarily too much. One thing about me is I was a football equipment manager while I was at NC State, and I was there from 2013 through 2016. And during my time, one of the guys that was a huge inspiration for me, which I'm sure you know the name, is Dave Seville from Clemson, who was a equipment manager at State. I'm sorry, at Clemson. I wish he was at State. I would have loved to work beside him. That'd been an honor for sure. But I still remember to this day, he was a football equipment. I'm sorry, he was a football equipment manager at Clemson. For those that are not aware, and had special needs, was a part of the Clemson Life program, and was a huge, just a storyline in terms of how much involved he was and how much of an inspiration he was for so many. And for me, one of the coolest moments of my time at NC State was when I was the bald boy on the Clemson sideline, and I was actually able to go up to Dave and give him a high five. And that was so cool. I'll never forget that moment for sure. So the first question I want to ask is there, like, what are kind of like, for those that are aware of what the Clemson Life program is, but not necessarily aware too much about Elevate, is it very similar in terms of how it's going to be set up, or there are some key differences? We want to interrupt this interview real quick to tell you about our amazing sponsor, Coney Gold Barbecue Sauce, y'all. With all of their amazing barbecue sauces and rubs, y'all, go check out their website, ConeyGoldBarbecueSauce.com. Make sure to use the code Tuffy Talk to get 15% off your entire order, y'all. And if your order is over $99, that shipping is free. Go get you some.
Yeah, thank you for asking, and I'm so happy that you did. This is I could spend a long time talking about why this is important.
Yes.
let me define the two differences between One Pack Empowered and Elevate, so everyone understands the difference. Dave and Sarah Doran gave $1.25 million to One Pack Empowered. It's an incredible investment in NC State and in families that have students that are already on campus that maybe have been high functioning with social issues or some executive management needs. These would be students that don't register as students with intellectual disability like the Elevate program will have. These would be students who just need a little bit more. Maybe it's social gatherings. Maybe it's helping with a resume. It could be helping make appointments, learning to, just function at a high level on top of all the incredible academic responsibilities that come with being a student at NC State. So One Pack Empowered is a resource for students that are already currently enrolled at NC State. Okay. Elevate is similar to Clemson Life. So Life is an acronym, Learning is for Everyone, and that's Clemson's program. About 3 years ago, right around COVID, I decided that it was time for me to push NC State to create a program similar to Clemson Life. NC State and Clemson have identical land grant missions. Our responsibility is to service the mission of the state and the people of the state. I thought South Carolina and Clemson were doing so, but I wasn't sure that NC State was doing that. And so I started in a passive aggressive push across campus. So in 3 years, I met with deans, stakeholders, board of trustees, Chancellor Woodson, and the whole process was about 3 years. But I'm going to tell you a story about calling a Florida State, NC State men's game 2 years ago in the PNC. So when I'm at the PNC and I'm calling the game, it's me. To my left is play-by-play, then our stats guy, then Mr. Murphy. Well, everybody knows Wendell Murphy, right? Mm-hmm. I don't need to go into any description about Mr. Murphy. Next to Mr. Murphy was his wife, Linda. And then next to Linda was this young woman who I knew was on the autism spectrum. Okay. And during the course of the game, I'm a year and a half into my push on campus, introducing this concept of having a program similar to Life. I'm in the game saying, please let that be Mr. Murphy's granddaughter. Please let it be his granddaughter, because I know he can help me and help NC State. Yep. So I got with his people, 8:00 on a Saturday night. I walk out of the arena. I asked if Mr. Murphy would call me. Now, remember, Mr. Murphy was at games when I played. So everyone or every athlete knows Mr. Murphy, or at least knows who he is. Yes. And we're grateful for all the things he does for NC State. So at 8:00 on Saturday night, I walk out of the arena. On 9:00 the following Monday, 9 a.m, I get a call. Can you hold for Mr. Murphy? I get on the phone with Mr. Murphy and I spend 30 minutes and I explain to him my family, Clemson Life, what I had been doing on campus, why NC State needed this program, why it would be important for NC State. And Mr. Murphy was incredibly gracious and did not know about my family. He knew I had 3 boys. He didn't know about Frankie. He was really interested in discovering more. And when I asked him if he would love for his granddaughter to go to NC State one day, and he said, absolutely, 1,000% is what he said to me. And so I said, well, will you help me? He said, I will. I said, I have a meeting coming up with the dean of the College of Education. I got the meeting through the chancellor's office, and he went to the meeting with me. So I sat there with the dean, her fundraiser, Mr. Murphy and his assistant, myself, and then Kevin Howell out of the chancellor's office. And we introduced the program to the dean. When I got finished with the meeting, I left thinking I felt like we were making some headway. So then another year after that, and things started to fast forward, and Chancellor Woodson was so gracious to be willing to take on the charge of doing this. I got a call that the North Carolina House had appropriated $3 million this year, and it's recurring funds for NC State to start a program. It is absolutely the most amazing story. It could not be more proud of NC State. I could not be more proud of Dean Stein, who's the Dean of the College of Education, who's taken on this charge. I am so grateful to Chancellor Woodson for his leadership. And Chancellor Woodson and Jim Clements, the president of Clemson, are best buddies. I strategically tried to make sure that Jim, who's a friend of mine, wasn't bugging Randy about doing this, but it certainly was on the radar. I just worked it behind the channels, back channels, the best I could to introduce the program in the best think and do way, because that's to me what NC State is. This would be thinking and doing at the highest level. And thankfully, in January, 6 students will start on scholarship in the Elevate program as commuter students. And then in the fall of 2025, there will be a residential component. So it is a great launch. It's a great way to get the program going. And I keep telling everyone around NC State that they just don't know what they don't know yet about what it's going to feel like when these students are on campus, and the emotional IQ and all the things that come with the total well-being of all students. To be able to have this program on their campus is going to be remarkable. Clemson has like 650 volunteers in their program that work with 40 students. It's absolutely amazing. Now, they've been around for 15 years, so we're getting our start. But to launch with $3 million is beyond what I ever thought could ever happen. So I am grateful and I am thankful, and I can't wait to, help in whatever way I can help NC State, because I'm here for it.
I mean, Debbie, obviously I can't say enough good about that story for sure. I mean, just absolutely just touching the heart of everybody, but especially for anybody that's an alumni of NC State or current student or is associated with NC State. That's just phenomenal, to say the least. So the last question, which I want to ask you, Debbie, before we wrap up here, this part is obviously, like I was saying, it's phenomenal how much you are involved, whether it's with the KYAL Foundation, whether it's with the Nothing But Net, with the Special Olympics now, especially with the Elevate program as well. I mean, where does all this come from for you in terms of being so focused on giving back? It's like, where does this come from?
I think
with obviously your son as well, with Frankie and the inspiration he is.
We were given an incredible gift, and with that gift, with the 3 boys and with Frankie, comes some responsibility to share the best parts of it and share the hardest parts of it too. I think that's important. I actually, on the road while I was in Minnesota, I met with two new moms that have just gotten early diagnosis for their children on the autism spectrum. And the conversations are so empowering and uplifting. There's some tears, of course, because you don't know what you don't know is coming forward. But the sheer amount of joy and happiness that the service in the facilities, the amount of hope. When Frankie was born, there was a lot of scientific data out there about Down syndrome, and none of it was positive, and I didn't enjoy reading any of that. But Gene Stallings, the great Alabama football coach, had written a book because he had John Mark. And that was the one thing that resonated with me and my husband, was what incredible hope and inspiration Gene Stallings was able to provide families like ours. So we want to do the same thing. And, Coach Al always said, what more can we do? That's great. We did that, but what more can we do? My mom and dad always pushed us to do the right things, make the right choices, but then what more can you do? And so, I'm just one person, and I think I want to inspire other people to think about what they can do. Now, I don't expect everyone to raise $1 million and create an incredible program on an ACC campus. I'm not asking people to do something like that. That sounds beyond my wildest dreams, but to get involved, to be active, to be a little bit more tolerant, to not be so judgmental, to, spend a little time with somebody when you think that they might need it. Those are the things that you can do to help and inspire other people. And I'm just trying to do my part. And it is a relentless pursuit of trying to make everybody's life better, including my own. And I get as much as I give. So it equals out. And I know, with the KYAL Cancer Fund raising money for breast cancer and women's cancers and the amount of work that the KYAL Cancer Fund has done, if Coach Al was here today, I know she would be so pleased, so proud, but she would say, what more can we do? And I think that's our effort all the time. So I want to be that direct descendant of KYAL that helps share all the good things that the good Lord has put in my path. And I have a responsibility for it. As big as ball screen offense and pick and roll defense to as big as the Elevate program. All those things are important.
Yes. Amen. Well, first of all, for all of our listeners or viewers right now that want to learn more about this Elevate program, the link is down in the description below. But for those listening that don't see in the description, it's ced.ncsu.edu/elevate. Go and check it out, y'all, and learn more for sure. And then, for Debbie, in terms of all the stuff you want to learn more about, her involvement with the KL Foundation, with the Nothing But Net series, Elevate, things like that as well. You can go to her website, or also to make sure you give her a follow on her social media as well, at Debbie Antonelli as well. Debbie, any other last words of wisdom for anybody else who would like to get involved as well?
I'm so glad we spent our time on this in September and October. And then when the basketball season really rolls around, that's when we'll get back at it on NC State, the men and women's teams. I'm so excited for both Kevin and Wes, and it's just going to be another great year. It's going to be a great season. We know how much the fans care. I can tell you Reynolds Coliseum, I know is sold out, and I expect the PNC to carry the same kind of fever inside that building as well. They always do. They always deliver. So it's going to be fun. But I'll come back when we're ready to talk some hoops.
Amen. Well, and if it's okay with you, Debbie, as well, would love to actually even spend another 10 minutes, talking about women's basketball, if you're okay with that as well.
Sure.
All right, great. Well, with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, we're going to pause right there. Then we'll pick that up here in part 2. So with that being said, make sure to tune in for part 2, where we talk a little bit of women's basketball, y'all. We'll see y'all then, and go Pack.